What's good, O'Shea Duke Jackson channel? It's your boy O'Shea back at it again with another YouTube collaboration. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell, guys. And we do have a really interesting interview with a very powerful topic. Brother, go ahead on and introduce yourself, family.
Hello everybody. It's good to be here on O'Shea's channel once again. Many of you know me from my Pan-Africanism Strikes Back channel, but today I'm representing my Black Manosphere channel, Ebony Outlier. It's good to be here as always, and thanks, O'Shea, for having me.
All right, brother, and you have some really good streams on the Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. I know on WhatsApp I always get a message for me to get on my job and share all of them. But you have some really interesting concepts, and like me, I'm also Black community focused. But I remember one particular, because you'll talk about things, and as you're getting ready to get into the topic, and you talk a lot about, you were talking one time about colorism and how colorism has affected the Black community, but because a lot of times Black women accuse us of being having colorist choices and presets, which it is true, but when it comes to Black women exhibiting colorism, seems like a lot of times they're quiet about it. But you have an interesting choice about how colorism it actually affected you one time in a relationship. But let me ask you before we get into that: do you think colorism that Black men have more of an issue with it, or Black women have more of an issue with it?
I believe Black women have more of an issue with colorism. I believe that the ideas behind colorism are basically created by women, and then they're perpetuated by Black men, because men, period, in general, we don't really care. As long as it's nice, tight, fit, cute, we're down to ride. But when it comes to women, they're the ones who put the emphasis on the aesthetics. Oh, is her hair wet and wavy? Is the weave 26 inches or 23 inches? Are her nails done in a certain way? Women put attention on aesthetics. Men we really don't give a damn. We'll take you can have nappy hair, walking around, ashy ankles, whatever. As long as it's, palatable to some degree, we're all on board. As long as you're taking care of us, clean up our stuff and feeding us, taking care of the kids, keep them from screaming, we're happy with it.
Let me talk to you about this, because you had a situation where you were dating a woman, and kind of talk about this like a little bit of a story time, right? But I'll let you, because you've experienced this in a, not that you've heard, but you actually went through something like this, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, talk about it.
It was actually my first experience with colorism. When I was I believe I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school. I'm just doing my thing, rolling around in my Oldsmobile Delta 88 with my rims on it. And I was just riding around my neighborhood, and I figured, hey, I want to go to McDonald's and get me something to eat. As I'm pulling into the McDonald's drive-thru, I see a Black woman there, and she's crying. She's looking very distraught, tears coming down. You know how women do. They act like they don't want your attention, but they're obviously crying in public. They're not like hiding their face or going into a corner to cry. So they do want you to acknowledge that they are in a state of distress. So me being the gentleman that I am, I park the car. I walk up to her and I say, "What's wrong? Is everything okay?" And she was talking about how she had just had an argument with her boyfriend, and he had hit her. And she had her little daughter with her, and her daughter was light skinned. And I didn't think nothing of it, because I don't practice colorism. A light skinned person is Black to me if they got one drop. But she said that he had hit her, and she was very distraught because he had actually hit her in front of her daughter. And so she had left the relative's house who they were visiting and was actually catching a bus home. So, like a true simp, I was like, you know what, look, take down my number. If you need anything, just call me, and I'll come running, Captain Save him all day, right? Black woman, got to defend the Black woman. So 2 days after I meet her, she gives me a call, and she tells me that her boyfriend came back tripping came back to the house and he was acting up, hit her again, actually like beat her up, and he ended up going to jail. So I was like, you know, do you need anything? Are you okay? And she was like, no, I'm good. I just wanted to let you know what had happened. So basically she was letting me know that the Red Sea was parted and the floodgates were open. And she was open to the idea of letting me, you know, massage the peace leaves in his absence, right? So I went over there and, you know, talked to her. We had a good old time. I took her out, took her little daughter out. We went to Baskin Robbins, sat in the park, you know, the whole shebang. And we ended up, you know, being intimate and developing a little relationship, like a little cool little vibe. So for the next 3 weeks, we were seeing each other every day. I was taking her out, spending my money. Please spend my money. This, you know, I was in full simp mode. And I really thought that, you know, something was going to blossom by messing with this girl. And although she was a little bit below my standards, because I typically don't go for women who are overweight, because she was a little bit chunky, and she wasn't nothing to write home about in the looks department, really. But I was feeling chivalrous. I was feeling like, you know, I rescued this one, I pulled this one out, you know, I got this one from the animal shelter. You feel me? Like this is my little special little one right here. You know what I'm saying? I was down. You know?
Right.
I was down. You know what I'm saying? And so after 3 weeks, all of a sudden, abruptly, whereas we was having these, you know, all day conversations, hey, I'll be right back. I'm at work texting her. And when we not texting, we on the phone. So abruptly, after the third week, it was the fourth week. That Monday, I usually get a good morning text. I get a call, something from her. I didn't hear from her. No! So I was like, you know what? Maybe she's just tending to her daughter, handling her business or whatever, right? She was telling me, oh, you so great. You know, I think I'm falling in love with you. You know what they say. And I was just eating it up. Young 18-year-old, you know, young 18-year-old Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, ebony outlier, right? And all of a sudden, I didn't get a good morning text. I didn't get a call. So, you know, I wasn't trying to be too desperate. So I just let the whole day go by without even trying to hit her up. Next day comes. No! Still no call, no text, no nothing. So at this point, you know what I'm saying, I at least can lie and say I was worried about her. That's why I called her, right? You know, you got to wait till you got enough room to say, I was worried about you. But really, you really just like, yo, what's up with this chick, right? She met another dude or whatever. So I call her. No response, no answer. I text her, no response, no, nothing. I call her again like 6 hours later, no response. So I don't call her no more. Wednesday come around, I text her and I'm just like, what's the deal? Like we was hanging out and all that. You know, I didn't spend all this money. I didn't invest it financially. I didn't came up out my pocket. And you know, when you 18, you ain't got no money like that. You know, black folks ain't got no money, as they say. But so I text her in the morning on Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. Wednesday night. I get a text back from her, basically saying like, yo, my boyfriend got out of jail. She's calling her boyfriend again. So, you know, you already know what that is. She's like, my boyfriend got out of jail and he's here right now. And I just don't feel comfortable messaging you back and forth, whatever, while he's here. Cause I don't want him to try to take my phone and look at, basically she's in a relationship with an abusive dude. Right. And so, of course, during that time, I had like introduced her to some of my friends and stuff, some of my female friends and all that. Right. So I see a girl I know. Her name is Jessica. They're twins, Jessica and Jasmine, two sisters. They run track. They ran track at my high school. And so they, you know, I see them. They jogging. They used to get their workout on around the neighborhood. And I see them one day, and it's like, "What's up with Tanya? What's up with her?" And I'm like, "Nothing. We not talking no more or whatever." I guess her boyfriend moved back in. She was like, they were kind of blown away because, you know, when women, you put them in a room and they start telling all their business to each other and stuff. So she had told them about the abusive situation and all this type of stuff. Brandon's my hero, you know, that kind of crap. Then, you know, turn around and embarrass you. You know what I'm saying? Embarrass you. They would have put you up on the jumbotron just to slap you in the back of your damn head later on, right? But right. So basically, they asked me what happened. I told them her boyfriend came back or whatever. So you know, word gets around. So these were like my two, I used to call them my little sisters. So maybe like a day or two later, I get a call from Jasmine. That was like my favorite one, favorite twin. And she was like, yeah, man. She was like, my friend Cordelia know that girl. And she was like, her boyfriend, he's a Mexican dude. He's Puerto Rican, but you know, in California, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, we don't make no differential. So she was like, yeah, he's a Puerto Rican dude or whatever. So I'm like, oh, word, right? And so I'm just like, tell your friend, tell Cordelia to ask her, like, what happened? Why she just kicked me to the curb or whatever? Because I, you know, at this point, I want some closure. You know what I'm saying? I'm like a woman. I'm like, you got to explain to me why you let me spend all my money up like that and then just go leave me high and dry, right? So Cordelia, she asked her and whatever. And so I'm walking past their house one day, and Cordelia is in the front yard. She big and pregnant. And I'm like, Cordelia, what's up, man? You know the girl, old girl Tanya, right? So what's the deal? Why she try to play me? Why she, let me do all that and then go back to her boyfriend? And Cordelia was like, man, I'm gonna keep it real with you. She was like, she wanted to have more light-skinned kids. What? She said at this point she's only with him because he's light-skinned and she wanted to have more babies with good hair. And I was like, I was blown away. Like, because you know me, I've always been in different spaces. I grew up going to like all white schools and stuff. So I grew up with that like kind of ignorance towards the idea that someone would even try to be with a person of another race just to produce a certain type of kids. Because I'm gonna be honest, her daughter wasn't even all that cute like that. Wasn't much to look at. I've seen some cute kids. That little girl wasn't nothing. Her hair wasn't even, it was that long. She was getting her hair from her mama. You know what I'm saying? It was some, she had that Negro hair, that grade B, 4F, HIJK, LMNOP grade hair, right? So I really couldn't make a connection between she was staying with this dude to have more light-skinned kids, but I guess she figured if she had enough of them, eventually one or two of them would come out with the Chico DeBarge, you know what I'm saying? The Reza Ramon type of curls in her hair, right? But yeah, that was my first experience. So I was kind of blown away by that. But at that point, I really realized, it's a lot of women out here, and there's men too, but we talking about women right now. There's a lot of women out here who are really, they will reject and basically become traitors and enemies of not only the black man, but the black family and the black way of life, just for the sake of having a kid who got a handful of hair that looks like the same texture as Canicolon Remy or Brazilian Yaki weave, wet and wavy. And that just gives you an idea as to who we're really dealing with out in these streets. So, like, when I talk to men, I'll be like, yo, you have to understand the mindset with a lot of these women is very juvenile and immature. Their mindset is really, they operate based on the same standards that they claim are used to marginalize and disenfranchise them. They say they treat us bad because our hair is a certain texture, but then they go and treat other people bad based on the same criteria. So like they're excluded and discriminated against based on this criteria. And then what they do is they complain about it happening to them, but then they go execute the same type of judgment on others based on that same criteria. Like somebody, you owe somebody money, like back in the day, the Bible thing with the good slave, right? The slave and the king. The king forgive the one slave who couldn't pay him back on time, but then that slave go beat up another slave who didn't pay him back on time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing. We're dealing with that in our community and primarily with our women. Because even when men practice colorism, men are not saying, yo, they're discriminating me based on my color, right? So I'm going to go discriminate against women based on their color. Men may have a preference for something like, oh, I like the light-skinned chicks, right? But even if you look at it, when men were raised primarily by their mother in our community, their mothers glorified that. Your mama did everything in her power to not have that great HIJKLMNOP texture hair, right? But then women fought us because when we go out to seek women, we seek the women that our mothers tried to imitate, that our mothers spent thousands of dollars a month trying to be like. And then they say something wrong with us. Nah, our mother told us that Aaliyah was beautiful, right? Nice skin, nice hair, little trim waist. But when we get up, grow older, and we have a preference for the Aaliyah types. You know what I'm saying? The Tamia types. All of a sudden, we're the bad guy. No, all we're doing is operating based on what we were trained, or based on the standard that of beauty that was set for us. So when men do it, it's very, very different from when women practice colorism. Matter of fact, when men do it, men aren't even practicing colorism. 9 times out of 10, men are just they're seeking to gain or reach that standard of beauty in a woman that was set for them by their own mother.
Look, it's true story. Even my grandmother. Now, my mother had more of a pro-black attitude, but my grandmother would tell me, "Don't bring me home. Nobody black as you, because you need some kids with some color." So, you know, before I left to the East Coast and went to DC at Howard University, my great aunt told me that she said that she had a dream that I was graduating school there and I was bringing home a light-skinned wife. What? This is my own family tell us. My brother brought a light-skinned, dark-skinned girlfriend home one time, and my grandmother said, "Hey, babe, how you doing?" He then took him in the room, said, "Don't you ever bring nobody this black to this house ever again." And so my brother in the mid 80s, he's 10 years older than me. He would be trying to lighten up his skin. He's darker than me. And so I seen that, you know, at the same time, while the sisters of today complain that, you know, black men prefer, but then we have women in our family telling us, you know, you too black to have another black lady. You know, my grandfather was from Lincoln, Missouri. He said that if you call somebody black, and he died in 2019 in October. He was 102 years old, but he said if you call somebody black, just calling somebody black was a reason to fight. Those was fighting words, not like talking about your mama. Not if you call somebody black, that was ass whooping time just for calling somebody black. Right. So you know, and let me ask you this, because you broke that down very well. Because you talked about black men, because you know you see it that when black men in music videos, you know they have women that are lighter skinned, and it's not dark skinned women that they're you know that they're coming to. Do you think that black men, outside of what moms have told them, that they want a woman, some of them that are closer to white? Because you do have black men, for example. I mean, you know, brothers like me, you, and Dynas, we're typically in East Africa, or, you know, well, he's in West Africa. Me and you are both East Africa guys. Yeah. But, you know, you see a lot of brothers going to Brazil, a lot of brothers going to Colombia and DR, where the women tend to be a little bit more mixed, with you know, and not so much, you know, towards, you know, the darker places. And when they go there, you know, you never hear about black men going to Haiti or Jamaica, but they're always going to these places where the mulattoes at. Do you think that's because of a preference, or why do you think that is?
Well, I'll answer your question with a question. Where do the weave hair come from, O'Shea? All these women is trying to get what? What kind of weave hair they trying to get, dog?
Brazilian.
They trying to get the Brazilian. Brothers will marry an Indian chick. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to just trying to achieve the standard of beauty that their women who raised them have set. If every woman in your community wants nothing more than to have a Brazilian head of hair, right? There's something about that Brazilian woman that's gonna draw you in, because you're gonna look at her with that natural Brazilian and say, yo, wait a minute, she got that stuff naturally, what my mama and my sisters and my aunties and my grandma was paying for. Then the women in your family talk, they do everything to try to lighten up their skin. They put on even down south, they do this real bad. They cake on the foundation, the light foundation. You be thinking somebody light skinned, whole time they dark skinned. They give you a hug, their whole face come off on your shoulder. Like, wait a minute, auntie. You ain't 2 shades lighter than a brown paper bag. You actually dark as me. But they done put the stuff on their face so much that not only has it made them look light when they have makeup on, it makes them look lighter naturally because their skin is constantly covered up all the time. So when you go look at the woman out in Brazil or the Dominican Republic, the DR, see, we still love the black woman's features. You know, we love that ass. We love that curvaceous Coke bottle, right? Shape that black women have naturally, right? But now these women, they're shaped like black women because they have a lot of African blood in them. So they got the shape, but they also have the basically Eurocentric characteristics, the Eurocentric or European features that black women have glorified as well. So I don't think a black woman could really even fault a black man, you know, who's, you know, not part of the quote unquote woke community for going out and chasing after Brazilian bubble butts or Dominicans or whatever, right? Because she's actually helped perpetuate that standard for him. So don't be mad because you trained him to do a certain thing, and then when he does it, you know, you offended. You're perpetuating it just as much as he is. I have never heard a black man tell his son, don't bring no dark-skinned woman. I've never heard a black man say that.
I've never heard that, no, never.
I've never seen a movie where they were like, we prefer light skins over dark skins. When I watched the movie Malcolm X was light skinned, but he was played by a dark dude, Denzel. Malcolm X went and got, I guess her name was Betty. I don't know.
Betty Shabazz, yeah.
Betty Shabazz. That was played by Angela Bassett, who was also fine as cat hair. She is beautiful. I love her. Black men still lust after dark-skinned women. How many of us be going crazy over Lupita? How many of us went crazy over Serena? We still love. You see that when people post different things on Instagram. I be on Instagram out there being a real creep, you know, looking at the different Instagram models. The dark-skinned Instagram models are getting just as many likes from the men as the light-skinned Instagram models. You know why? Because men don't care. All we want is for it to be aesthetically pleasing. Anything beyond that is based on the standards of beauty set for us by our women when we were little. Men are just anything around. It's pheromones, dog. It got nothing to do with attraction. You will catch a man later with the ugliest thing ever if it's the right time and the right place. Because when it's time to do it, he ain't thinking about, oh, but she this, but she don't. Man, a dude will hit a chick in a wheelchair. I'm not even lying to you. If that's what's available to him. And if it's good to him, he gonna cling to it and defend it. Nah, man, you know, Susan, she might be in a wheelchair, man, but dude, you know, you had a brother's toes curling. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But you know, and I mean that's what I loved about back in the day, our old black movies, Boomerang and stuff like that. Man, look, Eddie Murphy wasn't chasing Halle Berry. He didn't want Halle Berry. She was light skinned, right? He was chasing Robin Givens, the dark skinned chick, the short, little, skinny, dark skinned chick, because that was a true reflection of the black man's mind. Black men, and even men, period, we are still more about what the woman is bringing to the table at the end of the day. The attractive, the ones who have the European standards of beauty, that's just something that, you know, when you're young, you like, yeah, you know, you talk just to be cool with the guys. But at the end of the day, your man is leaving you from Becky. And you know, by the time she get 28 years old, she gonna have the saddleback hips. You know what I'm saying? She gonna be looking all wrinkly like a prune. And she gonna be having male pattern baldness at the age of 32 years old. So clearly, just this standard of beauty that we set for ourselves is not the man's criteria for like marrying you. It's not his criteria for being with you and standing long-term relationships with you. Men have a different criteria for what we look for in a mate, like fertility and stuff like that. So I just think when women complain, it's a little bit disingenuous.
All right. Well, brother, man, you have really rocked it on this particular episode, man. Tell people about, you know, your channel. You know, I know you have two. If you want to promote both of those, it's fine. We'll link both of those at the beginning of the first comment. Talk about your channels real quick, brother. Okay, so my primary channel is Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, spelled just how it sounds. Just like Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. And on there, I'm talking all about bringing black people together, uniting globally based on, you know, economics, politics, and spirituality. It's like a nice party, nice little positive party. Every morning we're live, 7 a.m. Pan-Africanism morning show. We play a little music. We have a little fun, crack some jokes, get into some serious politics and news that's developing that is basically relevant or impacts the African community, whether it's in America domestically or internationally, the diaspora abroad. So that's the first channel. You see me, I got my little dashiki on from Nigeria.
The second channel that I've created, which is actually my monetized channel, trying to get some money coming through here because, you know, my pockets be touching sometimes. So I created another monetized channel, which talks about dating and relationships. I'm a person who has been with my wife for 14 years. 14 years we've been married. We've been together 16 years. So I came into the manosphere as someone who seeks to kind of create a balance. I'm trying to like balance the force a little bit, to coin a Star Wars term. But I just want to give a different perspective on, you know, the Black manosphere. That's why I call myself the ebony outlier, because I realize that the situation that I'm in is not the norm for our people anymore. We're moving more towards a, you know, gender war, gender split society based on split based on gender. And me being able to do what I've done with my family, you know, my wife, maintaining a relationship and all that, that now is something that is a rarity. So now I've actually become the outlier when it comes to dating and relationships in our community. So I hope you go over there, like, subscribe, help me get to a couple thousand followers at least. And I'm going to do my best to just give you honest, straightforward opinions. And so, like, there's so many of us who have like relationship trouble. We're coming off of split breakups and stuff like that. But I really want to appeal to the people who are actually together and give them some information that can help them maintain what they have. Because at the end of the day, we all still want each other. It's just we're having there's a disconnect somewhere there for a lot of us. And so I'm just trying to, you know, rebuild that connection and you know, do what I can do to help.
All right, so guys, make sure you check out the channels below and subscribe, hit the bell. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out. Peace.